Hey, Gavin.
Hey, Louie.
Diva, I'm a little bit, you know what I am? I'm sick and tired. Sick and tired of both in this
economy.
I know, if you can imagine. It's like rainy. I'm sick and tired of this weather being hot and cold. Katy Perry, like, what is going on?
It is yes and no, so.
Yes. That's a little millennial diva humor.
Yeah, I was going to say, how old is that song at this point? Is that song voting age yet?
I know. And listen, Katy Perry, probably not a great human. I've decided, like,
yeah,
I just have to, like, realize, she probably loves who's the Amazon guy? Not Elon.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. I feel like she wants to be Jeff Bezos, like, his wife's best friend. Like, she's going to space. Yes, I think that's real. But okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mixed Reviews.
Before I even continue with that, she did kill that nun with her mind.
Yeah.
We are a film podcast where we take a film subject, such as an actor, director, or mini genre. We take 2 weeks. Nope, that's not true anymore. We take a month. We watch as much as we can. We read as much as we can. We do as much research as humanly possible for 2 working gals in the city. And we bring all that information back to you, and we tell you what we like and what we don't like.
The reviews are mixed. And sometimes it's not just 2 working gals, but perhaps even 3 working gals.
Oh, my goodness.
We have a return guest here with us today. Please welcome to the stage. It's Miss Eoin Daly.
It's a woman's world, and we're happy to be living in it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. That explains why Left Shark is also on the call. Left Shark, what would you know? Yeah.
The brain rot is just too much.
Yes, backed by my popular demand of asking to return, I'm yet here again.
Yes.
You say, like, what's the way to broach this? You were very insistent, but I was very happy to oblige. Like, you say your popular demand, but I think you're such a great guest that it was like not even a question when you asked. I was like, oh yeah, sure. Why would I say no?
We've been flirting with this subject for a while.
Yes.
I think me and Gavin had brought her up before. And we're like, I mean, this was years ago, though. And we were like, oh, she has so much career left. And she still does. But
not anymore.
Now that we've done it, not anymore. Before we get into this week's subject, though, a little old business, if you will.
Yes.
We're not really doing polls anymore because we've evacuated the Twitter dance floor. But I just wanted to remind folks, our last episode, we talked about Denzel Washington. It was, I thought, a really, really kind of wonderful month of watching movies by, like, an American master, revisiting a lot of movies that we have seen for the show, some new things for the show. And I wanted to ask you, do you have any Denzel Washington, like, standout faves for you?
Where does one begin? So, like, I don't know. I mean, Malcolm X feels like the expected answer. But then also, I've watched Fences far more times than I thought I would. And just getting to experience him and Viola Davis be this, like, really hot couple is really fun.
Yeah.
And just sure, look, to keep up to date, watching Gladiator 2 and witnessing him throwing his cape around was the only reason to watch.
Right, correct. He's also currently on Broadway.
Yes.
Jake Gyllenhaal doing Othello, is that right?
Yes. We actually got a comment on one of our Patreon posts saying Gavin and Louie go to Broadway for Othello. And I would love to, because I made reference in that episode that Louie and I should go see it. Those tickets are not cost effective. And Louie and I love to go to Broadway on a very cost effective ticket.
Yeah, Diva. We should start our $900 Patreon tier.
Yes. Just to get us to go see Othello.
The Othello Patreon tier is $900, and that's for, like, the shittiest ticket in the theater.
Absolutely. I don't see it happening, sadly, anytime soon. I would love to. I'm sure he's amazing in it. I do want to say, by the way, if you do want us to return to doing polls, one of the more effective ways that we might be able to accomplish that is by doing it through Patreon. Patreon has a very easy polling app inside of it, but that, like, very much shrinks the amount of people who get their say in terms of the poll. So let us know, actually. Write us in, message us on Blue Sky, message us on Instagram, write us at reviewsmixed@gmail.com. Tell us if you want us to bring the polls back. It's just, we don't feel like being on Twitter is a reasonable thing in this day and age.
And listen, like, I know that like Facebook and Instagram suck also, but the dystopia of like being like on Twitter and like just trying to be like a fun girly pop girl, and then like this propaganda, like just propaganda. It's mind melting.
I had to get it off of my phone altogether because I literally would still check the Mixed Reviews Twitter, and I was just like, every other post was insane. And
so that's why we're not there anymore. But anyway, Gavin, we had an email. We had a
yes, we do have an email. We have an email from a Steven. I don't want to read their last name. That feels invasive. So just Steven for now. Thank you, Steven, for writing in so much. You wrote us in very much at the beginning of the month, right around the time we were doing our last episode. So unfortunately, we didn't get to it then. So this is referencing our two previous episodes ago, our musicals from stage to screen. And this email says, "Hi guys, new listener here. I just wondered about your opinion on Sweet Charity. I think Shirley MacLaine is amazing, and as is the Fosse choreography. If They Could See Me Now, Big Spender, etc. are so good that it's one of my favorites of all time. Not sure if you mentioned it in the episode about movie musicals, but as a service for listeners who don't know about it, I think it's so entertaining. Anyway, all the best." From Steven. First of all, Steven, thank you so much for writing in. We love getting emails. If you want to email us, you can email us at reviewsmixed@gmail.com. I know I already said that, but I feel like saying it again. I really like Sweet Charity. Funny enough, I saw Sweet Charity in San Antonio, Texas for the first time. Yeah, Louis knows I love San Antonio.
You do love San Antonio. It's weird.
Do. It is weird, but it's a great place. And I thought it was really brilliant, really beautiful. I think it's a little long, and I know it's considered sort of lesser Fosse. In fact, it almost cost Fosse the directing gig in Cabaret, which was my 5-star review. So luckily didn't. But I think Sweet Charity is fantastic, and especially all the choreography in Shirley MacLaine. I don't know if Louis, if you'd had a chance to see it.
I haven't seen it, but I have seen like some of the musical numbers, and like those girlies are hoofing it. Okay, I mean, when you have like Cheetah Rivera, Shirley, like it's just they're stars, you know,
right?
And that dancing, the costumes, yeah. But do I know what Sweet Charity is about? No. Oh, have you seen?
Yes. I mean, I'm a Fosse aficionado. I really enjoy it. I think it's something. Yeah, it's really fun. Also, if you don't know what the story of Sweet Charity is, just watch Nights of Cabiria.
Bingo.
Come on. I mean, do I miss a time where we would turn these international European films into musicals? I'm thinking of A Little Night Music as well from Bergman. Yes, I do.
But think of the nightmare that is 9, Owen. Think of the nightmare that is 9.
Oh, God, yes.
One of my least favorite movies.
Well, I will say, I don't like to say the words guilty pleasure, but 9 is sort of a guilty-ish pleasure for me because it does have, I enjoy parts of it, even though as I go back to it, I'm like, God, Penelope Cruz is trying her best.
Mm-hmm. You love that Contini cinema, but only so much, you know?
Yeah. Fine, Owen. Just be Italian, whatever.
Yeah. I really love this skinny little tight. No.
No.
How does the lyrics go?
I don't know. Skinny little ties with
skinny little ties and
shades in the middle of the night.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
R.I.P. Kate Hudson. No, I'm kidding. And sorry.
First John Lithgow, now Kate Hudson.
I'm just killing them left and right. That's in reference to we got a comment on our last episode about Denzel Washington on Spotify, and then it disappeared. So I don't know if this person regretted it, whatever. But they were like, John Lithgow's alive because I made a joke last week about him being dead. The joke is that he is dead to me. I'm very much aware that he is kicking around. He was at the Oscars. I'm well aware. I don't know if he'll make it through all of those TV movie episodes or whatever they're doing over there at Warner Brothers. But for now, He's alive.
Will he make it through the conclave? Who can never be sure. Okay, I think that's enough old business and enough of Gavin killing actors. Owen, why don't you tell our audience, their listeners, who we're here to talk about today?
Yeah, so I don't know if people have gathered, but I am Irish. And I know. Can you believe?
Sorry, from Louis and I, that was acting.
So speaking of Irish actors, who is more prolific than Miss Saoirse Ronan? Saoirse rhymes with inertia, the woman of the difficult name for many a non-Irish person to say.
So here's an easy tune I made up as a little girl to help pronounce it. It's Saoirse with an R, not Saucy with an R, cause Saucy with an R goes or not R. It's sh instead of s, instead of e, simple as can be, see Saoirse.
And spell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been spelling it wrong for an entire month, let me tell you. Constantly Googling.
I accidentally went to a queer comedy night, and there was like some sort of joke set up about like, oh, the alphabet mafia, blah 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 blah, like something LGBT, whatever. And the comedian said, I think the real people you have to worry about is the Irish though. Siobhan, why do you have all those letters in your name?
I was going to say, I very much come from that line. I mean, I have 3 vowels in my name, and my name is only 4 letters long. So take of that what you will.
Oh, the Irish love a good vowel.
Yeah, you're lucky you have that N. Without that, we would be lost at sea.
You just
So what is it? I love this sort of dichotomy between your last appearance and this appearance, because you were on the show about a year ago and you came on to talk about Deborah Carr. And Deborah Carr is actually since passed, but it had an entire career, and we spanned, you know, the entire time from when she began all the way through her final film. And with Saoirse, she's actually maybe one of the youngest people we've ever discussed on this show so far. And so I'm curious, like, besides the fact that you're Irish, because obvious, what draws you to Saoirse? And also, but you know, why such wild swings is basically what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like I sometimes, because obviously I'm a fan first of this podcast before being a guest, is I always struggle when it comes to perform. I mean, I know you have a whole segment about looking forward to the future. I I always struggled in like, is it worth talking about an actor who's very much still in their career? But then something about Saoirse Ronan, I mean, she's been acting basically 80% of her living on this earth, and while she's still very young, she's managed to accomplish so much in her years of film. And I think that is what pushed me to want to discuss her, is that even at such a young, I mean, she's only 30 years old. She just turned, I mean, I've just turned 29 like this month, and the fact that we are in similar age range-ish, and she has accomplished so much is pretty incredible. And I think also the connection I have to her is that like I've kind of grown up with her as she's grown up, sort of thing. Like I've been there through like her youthful breakout. I've been there through her sort of like growing pains. I've been there through to this past year. So she's just kind of been part of my life, and I just have such positive thoughts about her that, I mean, we will get into. But yeah, she's just such a part of like, I guess, my growing love of film, and she's always been there.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, like, it reminds me of we talked about Heath Ledger and how obviously he died really young, but he was only acting for X years, and he was able to produce such an amazing amount of films, and films that are really remembered. And I think Saoirse kind of falls in that same category where, like, obviously we're really lucky she's going to have a future to make more films, but like, even just thinking right now, she already has 4 or 5 movies that are just like really indelible. A lot of these movies I had already watched, and a rewatch, and I was like, damn, this really like Atonement is a movie that you can just go back to every single time and like really feel something, and like, you know, same thing like Little Women, Lady Bird, like it's just kind of shocking and amazing that she's already done so much, and not, I know, kind of like she's just been busy, like, yeah, she's been busy, but like she's been making movies that will stand the test of time, which is pretty incredible.
Yes, I believe she's the second person to be nominated for 4 Academy Awards, second youngest person to have been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, right behind Jennifer Lawrence, I believe.
Wow.
Yes, Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's yeah, I was about to say Jennifer Jones, but no, Jennifer Lawrence definitely took that record away from Jennifer Jones.
You just have portrait of Jenny on your brain all the time. That's it.
I mean, I mean, not the Song of Bernadette.
No one has Song of Bernadette on their mind.
But it's true. Love is a many splendored thing.
You stop it. You stop it. No, and I the only thing I would have to add before we dive into the rewind is I think it's also really interesting to do her sort of now, because I think she's kind of on a precipice. You know, the movies that she had out last year, there was a lot of like, oh, she's going for awards again. And then both were very overlooked. But she put a lot of effort in bringing the story of the Outrun to the big screen through producing it, through like really working on the script, sometimes ad-libbing dialogue in the movie. I think she is edging towards, and I have seen interviews where she's mentioned that she would like to direct. I think she's edging towards that direction too. And I think has a really solid foundation for that because, as you both mentioned, you know, she's been acting, she's been in this business for more of her life than she hasn't. and so I think it's a really interesting, I think we're catching her at a really interesting place because I think she's about to like really move off into doing her own thing in a more interesting way than just, because I was even thinking about this earlier today. It was hard for me to come up with a bad performance. And I think because there's bad films that she's in, but I think it's because she's only been in this business since she was 10 and she's 30 now. She hasn't had the opportunity to do like paycheck gigs yet. and so I also think we run the risk of running into that in the future as well too. So I think she's at this really interesting point in her career where there's a couple lanes that she could take, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, and she's also worked with a bunch of auteurs. Like,
Yes.
she's like imagine just like being that young and working with like so many incredible directors. Obviously, you know, she's worked a lot with Greta Gerwig and Joe Wright, and there are more that we'll get to.
But even like Peter Jackson, you know, who cast her without ever meeting her.
Right.
So
it's casual, no big deal.
It was all based off of a tape. Again, my dad helped me with all of my tapes when I was younger, and he was really brilliant at it. And he's kind of got a bit of a flair for directing himself, and was very good at sort of like helping me work out what we were going to do. And it was really important when I was young, especially just because like so often you're sent into studios or cast in rooms to do these tapes, but I did them like in the garden where I grew up with my dog Sassy, and you know, I would talk to them beforehand and stuff. And we thought it was important that they saw that I was a real child. And so that was one of the things that Pete said, that, you know, something about actually seeing a real kid was really important.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to get into this. So Gavin, why don't we get into the rewind? All right, so Saoirse Ronan was born April 12, 1994. Alert, she was born in the Bronx.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great Irish actress, question mark.
Right, we're here to reveal the truth.
I was born in the... What, you couldn't tell that I was born in the Bronx? It was pretty obvious.
She's a fucking American, a dumb American, just like me and Gavin.
Hey, you don't have America without the Irish, okay?
That's true.
I've been to the Tenement Museum, I know.
There'll be no such thing as a bridge
Or train tracks or basically anything.
Yeah. But yeah, she was born in New York City. Her parents, Monica and Paul, um,
I love their
Very-
sitcom.
yeah, that they left Ireland because the economy was really horrible, and they came to New York to try and live a better life. Imagine a world, people trying to live better lives as immigrants. Don't get me started.
I've seen An American Tale. I know how that goes.
Bible does go west, okay? um, and so and her mother is a nanny. Her father, it's kind of like a handyman, then becomes a bartender. They have Saoirse. They're not here for long. I believe they moved back to Ireland when she's like 3-ish.
Before they move back, though, her father is like at a bar. Yeah. He's like doing his bartenderly gigs. And somebody's like, hey, you have a really great accent. You should think about acting.
He became an actor and had never trained or had never even been to see a play before. And suddenly he was on stage off Broadway. And so he completely fell into it. And then work took him home back to Ireland. So it was partly that why we moved back. And also Mum and Dad just wanted me to, have a garden to play in and things like that.
And it was someone from like the Irish Rep.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
If you don't know, New York City has the Irish Rep, which is a theater company, based around Irish people and like the culture. And so after a show, they came to his bar and were like, "Hey, girlie, you could, I bet you could be an actor." And he was like, "What? Me? Don't make me sing." And so he starts getting booked in shows, and all of a sudden, Saoirse talked about how she kind of remembers growing up and being surrounded by the theater community. But like I mentioned, still when she's very young, they move back to Ireland because her parents wanted her to like kind of have to be around nature and have a backyard and all those types of like kind of I mean, like it's funny, like people have been leaving New York for the same reason for like ever.
Yeah.
It's no place to raise a child.
I do also want to say, to my knowledge, they were both undocumented. So
Correct. Yes. They were undocumented immigrants in New York, but moved back around like I guess 97, 98, just as Britney Spears was about to come on the stage, if you can imagine. So
it
yeah,
played so much into her life.
it played so much into her life. In Ireland, her father is continuing to act, and Saoirse said like he would always kind of like videotape her on like on video cameras, and was kind of seeing like kind of how natural she was, and he had an agent and would see things coming through, and he said, hey, like you should go out for this movie. And that's kind of where it started, where she says that she didn't like ever think like, I want this to be my life, this is going to be like, she never studied this, didn't
Right.
She was homeschooled.
I love that he got her a gig in one of the films that he was in. She says it's a very indie, artsy type movie.
I was probably about 6 years old, and we were back in Ireland, and Dad he had been asked to do this short film, and it was like this kind of weird little art house film, nothing kind of really made any sense, but it was like art, and they obviously needed a child to be in it who was half human, half clown. Because like it wouldn't be an art house film otherwise, and so naturally he asked me, and and that was the very first thing that I did, and I did it. I mean, I basically did it as a favor to him, and as soon as I went on set, I just loved it. I just felt like the way a kid does if they go onto a football pitch for the first time, or you paint a picture or whatever. It just felt very natural. I felt really at home there. So
it wasn't really something that I was keen to do straight away. I wasn't really one of those kids that liked a lot of attention necessarily, but by the same token, my way of sort of surviving being an only child was to talk to myself a lot, and I kind of entertained myself by disappearing into a different world. So it was something that was always there, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't realise that could translate into something like acting.
Well, she also says that she while she was I guess before she was homeschooled, because I remember she did say she was eventually homeschooled, but before that there was like a stage school that kids would go to, and she was like, I can't really do the whole like acting thing. Like it just, she's like, it didn't make sense for me. She's like an instinctual actress. But yeah, so her father kind of is, the one who gets her into like going out for auditions. She does say though that like her parents were not momager crazy
No.
actor parents at all though. She has said that her mother is her soulmate. She's like best friends with her. They have a very solid relationship. She's also an only child.
I just keep thinking, I was thinking about this earlier today too, and I know it was basically a year ago at this point, but our Jodie Foster episode, and I think about Jodie Foster's mom forcing her into boudoir photos when she's 14, and I'm just thinking like, Saoirse's mom would never.
Saoirse's mom would never.
I love you, Monica. Like, what a good mom.
Yeah. I think I was like seeing, or I was reading an interview where they were talking to her mom, and her mom was like, I had to make sure that Saoirse knew like, this is a job and people are depending on you, and you can't be running around like you're the queen bee on set, and like just like very, very normal. And they still have like a very normal home in Dublin. Like they're like, it's just normal. Which I think, like to your point, Gavin, there are a lot of child stars who have not been able to have a normal childhood and go through being a child star as surrounded by normalcy. So her first like real gig is on and you tell me, Diva, The Clinic is a medical drama. Is that like an old like Irish version of Grey's Anatomy type vibes, or?
I am uninformed on this, unfortunately, as
Okay.
I said at the beginning, I am the same age as Miss Saoirse Ronan, so I would have, I'm 2 years younger than her technically, I would have been a mere 9 years old. No, actually, I can't do math. 7 years old. There we go. So I necessarily wasn't. I probably should have looked it up in my research.
Well, but like RTE, is that like
Crying.
the NBC of Ireland?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the BBC of Ireland. It's basically like the main channel. NBC is not. No. And what is the main channel in America? There's like
there is no main channel in America. Owen. That's
ABC.
No. So I guess the closest. No, we don't. We
The
just
closest would be PBS.
But also not, because the PBS doesn't receive any government funding, and like the whole thing with
CBS.
Yeah, it's CBS exactly.
No, it's HBO. We all sit down as a family on Sundays to watch HBO.
Oh, and this is how I know you're not an American, because HBO is not TV. HBO.
I know it's Max now.
Yeah. The other thing that she did besides that, she did a mini serial called Proof, and I have a couple clips from Proof when she's just like a little itty bitty 10-year-old, and she's just so good.
If you don't want me either, that's fine.
Don't be silly. Of course I want you.
So let me move in with you.
Okay, but we have to talk about it. I mean, we have to find out what Maureen wants.
What about what I want?
It's not that simple, Ola.
You don't care about me. You only think about yourself.
That's not true.
She also at this time auditions for Gavin, please cover your ears, for Harry Potter, and to play Luna Lovegood. She talks. She's on a podcast where she kind of like is like, I don't know, did I like
But on the reverse of that, she did say, like, on the set of Little Women, she did like accost Emma Watson with like, you don't know how much you meant to us. Like,
yeah.
So
yeah, she like a true millennial. Harry Potter means a lot to our young Saoirse.
Separate the art from the artist, because that artist is a piece of shit. So
I mean, I think those artists have separated themselves from that art.
yes,
very much.
Oh yeah, I'm not blaming any of the act. Like, that's not. Anybody who's choosing to take part now, I am blaming. But anybody who took part then, nobody could have known. Nobody could have known.
So her first big movie that she gets is Amy Heckerling's I Can Never Be Your Woman. We talked a little bit about this in our Michelle Pfeiffer episode.
Yeah, and in our Paul Rudd episode.
Oh, that's right. I mean, it's minor. I don't know that we need to linger on it, but she's playing a young American girl. The movie is direct-to-video released in the US. I will say, like, Amy Heckerling post Clueless.
I know.
I just don't, and this is not me like about the quality of her films, but it just does feel like the industry did not give her a fucking chance.
Yeah.
Like how did this happen? How did like she make this like seminal classic movie and then like Hollywood is like, no. Meh.
Wait, are you saying the industry didn't give a female director a chance before the year 2017?
Can you imagine? I can't
know.
believe it.
Gasp.
Like,
Yeah, it's tough all around, I will say. Yeah.
Yeah. I am very glad that her first film was directed by a woman because it very
Yes.
much, it's sort of like, even though she had no control over it, just kind of carry through with her.
I was just gonna say it. Like, I think it starts off a chain reaction for her in her career. There's been, it's almost parody in terms of how many times she's worked for men, how many times she's worked for women, and that's I don't know any other actor that has that track record.
Yeah, she's being very intentional. Her big breakthrough is in 2007's Atonement. She tells a story about how the dialect coach on I Can Never Be Your Woman was the dialect coach for this movie. And so she recommended Joe Wright see her. And when Joe first met her, was like, LOL, this is wrong, diva. But then she started reading the script and was like, oh, fuck. Because, and Saoirse says now, I don't look like the way Brandy's like described in the novel. She doesn't look like she's related to Keira Knightley. Speaking of which, we've talked about this movie with our Keira Knightley episode. And she's this movie kind of is just, and this performance specifically, this is like a cannonball, like fucking shotgun, electrifying start to her career. And it just never stops, right? Since this moment. She gets nominated for an Academy Award. It's a true like supporting actress role. Like she disappears from this movie more than half of it, I'd say. But the time she is in this film, it's just, watching it again this time, it was giving me what's the name of the daughter in the Joan Crawford movie?
Mildred Pierce?
Yes,
Mildred
yes.
Pierce. There you go.
Is it Vera?
Vera.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's giving a little bit Vera, even though I know Vera is more evil and like on purpose.
Hmm.
Owen has some thoughts.
Oh no, I was just about to quote Mildred Pierce. I'm trying to imagine Bryony being like, with this money I can get away from you, from all this cheap whatever that reminds me of this place or you.
I mean, it's funny because I think Saoirse has said like she doesn't think that Brownie's like a villain. She doesn't think she's bad. She's just like,
Just immature.
Immature.
She's a child. Yeah, she's a child.
Lola, who was it? It was Robbie, wasn't it? Robbie? You saw him? Like you said, he's a sex maniac, and you don't even know what happened before dinner. I caught him attacking my sister in the library. I don't know what he'd have done if I hadn't come in. You actually saw him? Of course I did, plain as day. He pushed me to the ground, and then he put his hands over my eyes. I never actually... Listen, I've known him my whole life, and I saw him.
I will say I did not rewatch this only because she's such a little brat. I know she's so good in it. Like I'm like very aware how good she is, and I've seen Atonement so many times, but I'm like, she's such a little brat. I don't want to sit through her being a little brat.
With that cunty little Bob.
Yes, exactly.
I just had to rewatch it just to like experience her eyes. Like there's like it's just Atonement is just one of those watchable films that for me doesn't necessarily feel like it's watchable in the moment. Yet when you constantly go back to it, as I have, it just like never ceases to amaze me how I feel like people don't talk about this film enough because it is seen as like some period piece of, but it's not. There's so much great like direction choices, and then you just have Saoirse Ronan while she is playing a version of a brat. It's just so amazing, and like
I mean that scene, the like big scene. Everybody that's seen Atonement knows what we're talking about, where she catches Keira Knightley and James McAvoy together. She said she learned so much from cinematographer Seamus McGarvey.
That was the first time I found my light. This is some of Seamus McGarvey's handiwork, who was our cinematographer. And he taught me a lot about using light to my advantage. Just how to find the light and how to sort of tell a story with it.
And when you look at that scene, the way like just that one beam of light hitting her across her gorgeous eyes and like coming into the room and them coming into focus behind it. It's I mean, Joe Wright is, I may not love every one of his films, but he is a master, honestly. Yeah. Like I truly need him to start making good movies again. But anyways,
I was as I was watching the movie, and even like Saoirse's long gone, but like the James McAvoy like in the Dunkirk scene, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is as beautiful. It's a really beautiful. All of his movies are very lyrical, and just kind of like dreamy. And to get back to Saoirse, she's just so good, and I think people kind of were like, oh, wait a minute, like this is a new star we have in our hands.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Saoirse Ronan inspired Vanessa Redgrave to basically copy her is like monumental.
Because you know what's the sign that you're a true bitch? You keep that haircut for 70 years.
So yeah, she amazing, award nominations. She a BAFTA award, Golden Globe award, Academy Award. I don't think she wins any of them, but she's like literally fucking 13, so it's fine. Next up, she plays the daughter of an impoverished psychic in Death-Defying Acts in 2007. She also is in the City of Ember, fucking book
YA adaptation.
Yes.
Real quick, just Death-Defying Acts, a movie I'd never heard of. Also directed by a woman. It was directed by Gillian Armstrong, who directed the 90s Little Women. So there's that connection there. It's a movie in which her mother is played by Catherine Zeta-Jones, and but bearing the lead is Guy Pearce playing Houdini, and they're out to defraud Houdini of some prize money by like holding a seance and like contacting his dead mother and whatnot. I don't think it's a good movie, but Guy Pearce is real recent, like red carpet Oscars spoke about this. Basically said that that movie was like tortured by Harvey Weinstein. And so there's like a whole other cut of it that exists that is not that movie. And I think you can kind of tell when you watch it that it's been messed with a bit. I didn't know that going in, but I was like, this movie's a mess while watching it. So
there's a whole library of movies that are just like fucked with by Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, exactly.
Her next, like I would say, role of note is in 2009's The Lovely Bones. We talked about this in our Stanley Tucci episode and our Rachel Weisz episode. The Lovely Bones is like an interesting film. Peter Jackson, not his typical fare, but also like he definitely put his take on it. She talked about like
into it,
not as Jack Gussie, but that it was a lot of like blue screen, a lot of like kind of. She also does talk a lot. I mean, this movie is about a young woman being assaulted and raped and murdered, and she talks a lot about how she was very protected, both on this film and on Atonement. She never felt like she was in a situation where she was like uncomfortable. She also talks a lot about how all these actors around her who were very kind. She talks about how Stanley Tucci after every take would be like, "Are you okay?"
I feel like a lot of the directors that I was working with really early on, because it was either make-believe or we were working with green screen, or it was something that was very sort of mature and explicit that I couldn't be exposed to at that age, directors talk to me a lot. and they described what I was supposed to be saying. So I think that actually really formed the way in which I work and my sort of relationship to storytelling in film. Like, so much of it is just going on in my head, and I think it really comes from that time, those first few years, where it was very much me and the director and them sort of creating this image for me just through what they were saying. The experience of watching something when you're an adult is completely different, because the movies that I made when I was growing up, they were mature. They were not children's films at all. I think I made two kids movies, and the rest were incredibly mature. So even with something like The Lovely Bones, I think the sort of gravity of that really didn't hit me at the time, and I actually watched a sequence from it recently, and I found it incredibly disturbing. I didn't want to watch it again.
I don't love this movie, but none of it is too what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's not exploitative, but like he does have to get physical with her in ways that, like, clearly it's not a stunt double. It is Saoirse, like, and it's tough, and I imagine like being in the scene is even more traumatic than being in the audience at home watching it.
She talked about like how she was like, I remember making the movie was a lot of fun though, because the material was so heavy that we just had to laugh and like, hang out and have a good time, because that was the only way to kind of get through it. I also love Diva. She went to the Viola Davis School of Acting and said the role is the role, and then like you have to leave it. Like there's no like living in the thing, like none of that bullshit, which I love.
And as a true example of the kind heart that she has not said anything negative about Mark Wahlberg. So, because I mean, we also talked about this in our Ryan Gosling episode, because this was the movie Ryan Gosling was fired from. And she said she's like, obviously she since talked to him. She was in his directorial debut, but like she's talked to him and everything. She understands that. And she said, when it comes to Mark Wahlberg, he was a father of young children himself. And so like it was a very natural fit for them.
It was interesting, the Diva is media trained. Okay, is what I say.
Yeah,
she even in her worst movies, she has never said a bad thing about them. Like she'll be like, it was a lovely time, and it didn't work, or maybe you didn't find an audience, blah blah blah. She has made comments being like, oh, the worst kind of directors are the ones who are like,
yes,
so this is what we're doing today, and she's like, I know.
Worst note a director's ever given me? Where do I start? When a director, so we have like call sheet sides for anyone who doesn't work in movies, which is like all of the scenes that we're going to shoot that day, and they'll have stage directions. When a director brings you onto set and goes, so you're gonna burp, 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 and they just read out what's on the page, and I'm like, yeah, no, I've got that. I can read that. It's the context that I need.
But she never says who that was, or
no.
But but she has talked about, like, to your point, she has not badmouthed anybody. And to that, she's a demure, kind,
very mindful,
very
mindful. I think, and this is me just editorializing, but if you could either back me up or deny this, Owen, I do think the Irish have a tendency to they would rather like preface it by being kind of, because I've also seen her be sort of self-deprecating, and over like going after somebody else. Like she's always in interviews, she's, besides being mindful, she's also very demure. She's very much like, oh no, it wasn't that big of a deal, and whatnot. And I think she carries a little bit of that too, where it's like, oh, it's better to like redirect it to me instead of, sending it off.
And I definitely would get that. And I think, like, I mean, who knows, maybe give her decades in which she's like in her 80s and she's looking back at like being this, I don't know, this Betty Davis figure of, oh, I remember when I made Lovely Bones.
Exactly.
And I work with Susan Sarandon. That was a bitch. Also, I just realized I made the Betty Davis connection in my mind. I did not mean to do that, but I did.
Very good. I enjoyed it.
So Lovely Bones is kind of like a box office flop a little bit. I think Stanley Tucci gets like an Oscar nomination. People do like Saoirse in it, but like it's just not kind of like there was a lot of expectations for that film, and it didn't really accumulate to anything. We talked a little bit about her next movie, The Way Back, during our Colin Farrell episode. Colin Farrell, another Irish export who
Yes.
I deeply want to kiss.
Yeah. And I'll give, this is another thing. Her English accent, I mean her like American English accent, is oftentimes better than Colin Farrell's. Like he just cannot. I'm not saying anything I didn't say on his episode. He cannot get that sing-songiness out of his voice, that like kind of nasally American thing that we have. She does it so well, and I have no idea where she pulls it from. And she said, obviously she works with vocal coaches. I don't want to be like, oh, she's a wonderkin who can mimic, but I think she has a good mimicry as well.
Yeah, she absolutely like has a great ability to like mask accents. I mean, she does it so often that sometimes people forget she's Irish until I guess they see her name. Very Meryl Streepian, maybe.
After The Way Back, which I thought is a very fine to good,
and she's good in it.
Yeah, war movie. She reunites with Joe Wright in Hannah, which is about a young girl who's like raised to be an assassin by another man who I deeply want to kiss, Eric Bana. I had never seen this movie, and I watched it, and I said, "Oh, Joe Wright, you've done it again. This movie rips."
I saw your skeet saying, "Joe Wright, you've done it again," and I was like, I hope this is about Hannah. I know.
I was like, wow, just like the music of this by the Chemical Brothers, but like just so tightly wound, and like the fairy tale of it all. It's so good. I didn't know Kate Blanchett was gonna be here. Another like little Bob. It's
everybody's got a cunty little Bob.
Yeah, it's so good. I don't know why I had stayed away from Hannah for so long, but I'm glad I saw it. And she is the titular Hannah, and she's in like every scene where she's this little girl who is trying to figure out like what it's like to live in the real world.
Yeah.
Which, it's like this the parable of was the dad says, the thing about kids, they grow up.
Yeah. It's sort of I talked about this. I was actually a guest on our former guest Murtada Alfado's old podcast Sundays with Kate, which I believe you can still find online. Go listen to the back episodes of that. I did the Hannah episode because I love Hannah so much. And just it's sort of an omniversal fairy tale. It pulls from Snow White, it pulls from Cinderella. Like she is Pinocchio. She's like learning how to be a real person and whatnot. And it's gorgeous. It's so multi-layered, and a lot of that has to do also with Joe Wright. And if we can just get him to direct another action movie, please.
It's kind of also like rock and roll. Like
it's very rock and roll.
When she's like escaping from that compound.
Yeah.
And it's so brutal. Like every week, like this, it's just
the she talked in one of her reviews, and she's like, I'm not supporting people using guns, but I did learn while learning all the stunts and the martial arts training and the gun training and that like if you're rounding the corner, you put the gun down instead of up the way people normally do, because if you're raising it up and you're pulling the trigger, you're going to hit them regardless. And so it's kind of just a waste to just like hold your arm out.
Not her telling people how to shoot people.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, I love Hannah as well. I've watched it so many times. It's just like such a thrilling ride the whole time. And like the fact that Saoirse Ronan at like the mere age of what 15 is like an action star on the level of say a Tom Cruise or a Bruce Willis is just like incredible.
Yeah, incredible. She at this time also did the dubbed English version of Arrietty, the Studio Ghibli anime, and
also kicked off Queen from Drag Race
by Arrietty. At 16, she was invited to join the Academy. Just casual,
casual
16-year-old Academy voter, no big deal. I wonder who she voted for.
Which honestly, there's like 90-something-year-old Academy, so good, balance it out.
We need it. In 2011, she makes Jeffrey Fletcher's Violet and Daisy, which is an alleged movie, I would say. I do with Alexis Bledel, who I love. But this movie is not it. I mean, I wonder if she did this because she was like, I'm an assassin. Like, that
Right.
I said Hannah, and this movie's about two girlies who are hired killers, except they're like quirky girls. And like this movie wants, I guess, like what Tarantino has
Yeah,
wants.
it's very aping of the Tarantino.
Am I off when I say Matchstick Men type vibes? Like
It's been so long since I've seen Matchstick Men that I can't confirm nor deny that.
but it's kind of like a clever, smart guy, like shoot 'em up type vibe.
Yeah. Oh,
Except this movie
I
is-
think you're kind of thinking more along the lines of like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah, yeah.
Like
exactly
David
what
again.
Yes. Yeah.
Just not at Christmas.
Just not a exactly.
But this movie's not smart.
No, it's not. And I saw this in the theater. And the only thing that I remember about it was I saw it the same night I saw Man of Steel, and I was like, it was better than Man of Steel.
Oh my
That-
God, Gavin, what a night.
I know, nightmare. And I rewatched it for this, and it is so bad. And no amount of I like her. I like Alexis Bledel. I really like James Gandolfini. I really love him. It's bad though. It's not good. I don't believe in the universe that it takes place in.
Have you lost your mind?
What's your problem?
You're my problem.
I'll let you borrow it sometime if that's what this is
No,
about.
it's not about a fucking dress.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly right.
You don't run me, Violet. We don't know anybody or get involved in stuff or anything like that. I never went to a prom. You did, but I
Be
didn't.
glad you didn't.
Why?
Because they would laugh at you.
How do you know?
Because that's what they do if you're different.
Everybody isn't like that, Vi.
Again, another film that I'd not seen prior to preparing for this, and yeah, it has so many elements that I would want to love. Like again, I love Saoirse. I like Lexus Bledel in certain things. James Gandolfini. I mean, I guess this released the year of his passing,
Yeah,
which is just like, ugh, R.I.P.
I know.
Yeah,
True R.I.P. Real R.I.P.
it's just not great. And also like the fact that someone like Jeffrey Fletcher, who'd obviously done Precious and won an Oscar like a couple of years before, managing to get into the director's chair quite quickly for especially the type of person he is impressive. And the fact that this just is not a great film is disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but all I could think of was like I could hear your voice in my head, Gavin, being like, "This is Baby's first movie."
Yeah.
Feels like he was trying, and like this movie just has all the seams showing, and it's so try hard. And
Well, I have this issue with a lot of first time filmmakers, even if they've made shorts and stuff before, but feature length filmmakers have a tendency to it's a hard business. And so they want to show off as much as they can do, in their first feature. So they look like they're, so versatile. But this movie was like, look at all these things I can do. And it's like, yeah, you're doing them badly. You're not doing them well. And so it's a tough watch. It's a little over an hour and a half. It's not even that long. And I split it up. I started watching it. I paused it. I went and saw an amazing drag show with Willem from Drag Race. And then I came back home and at like 1 a.m. was like, I guess I got to finish this.
yeah, that's kind of the vibe. She was supposed to be in The Hobbit with Peter Jackson, but she couldn't. She withdrew because of scheduling conflicts. And instead she did Byzantium by Neil Jordan. A little vampire flick.
Yeah. I almost wish this movie hadn't been advertised as a vampire flick. I think it would have been more successful had it not been, because it's not traditional vampires in the way. I saw this when it came out. It played Tribeca the year it came out. I was still trying to pretend to be a film journalist at that point. And I don't know. It didn't impress me at all. And then I rewatched it for this and I was like, I like this movie actually. Like, I think it's got a lot of cool, interesting feminist themes. I think a lot of it's like very on the page, like very like in your face about it, but like maybe I just wasn't interpreting them right at the time or whatnot, because Neil Jordan is such a master at visuals. I think he really accomplished blending them together well. Whereas when I originally saw it, I just kind of felt it was like too on the nose. And this time I don't know. This time I really kind of enjoyed it. Thoughts?
Yeah, this is like the last film that I'd not seen before, with Saoirse, and like it's really dark and twisted, and I don't know, something about her and Gemma Arterton is just like really fun. Like I don't know why I'd avoided it. I think this like decade, this kind of period, like post Atonement period before Budapest, part of Saoirse's career is where I kind of pick and choose the films I would watch. So I just kind of skipped it, even though I'd wanted to watch it for some time. But it was just like really fun and like the type of film that we just don't get anymore because people just don't make like mid-level films, let's say.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because this time period really is like she's obviously a young woman, but she's not like young. She's not a child, but she's not like mother age yet, you know. And so like, and
to bring back Britney Spears, she's not a girl. She's not yet a woman.
Correct. And I think like Hollywood and movie makers don't know what to do with like young women. I mean, thank God she connects with Greta Gerwig later. But like, I was thinking, like, man, remember what was that movie where they made Jennifer Lawrence have like 10 fucking kids, and like she was, I don't know, 22 or something.
It's the
Joy.
Joy. Yep. Yeah.
Like
she's playing like a 45-year-old when she was like 25 or whatever.
Right. So yeah, I think this time is kind of like an awkward her finding her footing era after the success of Atonement.
I do want to just hold my finger on that because I want to comment on that real quick. But I do also want to say, by the way, Neil Jordan's last vampire film was Interview with the Vampire, which came out the year Saoirse was born.
Crazy.
Okay, now I'm taking my finger back off just to say I think also, like you're saying about this, that even some of the auteurs that we're about to see her work with are kind of in a similar boat, because she kind of, after Byzantium, kind of plays girlfriends, and that's it for until a little bit. And so yeah, I know we're moving on from this, but like,
yeah, it's a little bit like of a searching period for her. So we get 2013's film adaptation of The Host, which, if you don't know, is Stephenie Meyer's of Twilight fame's other book. It's real bad, is what I'll say. What I love about this movie is that like it's basically about this parasitic alien race that comes to Earth and like takes over people, and basically like they're little kind of squiggly guys. They get in our brains and they control us. Except they don't count on humans being so fucking horny.
Yes.
And they're like, wait a minute, wait.
But also, and like, not to bring up Stephenie Meyer's religion, but like the movie is also very much like, anytime that so Saoirse has this alien inside of her, but also can like, she's one of the few that can like rebel, and so anytime she gets close to kissing a boy, the Saoirse inside is like, no, don't do that, no, like, like, don't kiss that man.
I can't kiss you. What? No, what is he doing? No, stop it. Stop, now. Don't do this. No, no.
What are you doing with my body? Kissing another boy? You better not be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
It's a very strange concept as a book in the first place. And then and on top of that, a very bad movie.
Yeah. And it's over 2 hours.
Yeah.
The Host is a film that I have not seen, will purposely never see.
It'll ruin your image of her.
I mean, I think I've got enough of it with just hearing you describe the plot of the film. I don't like, again, this is not a visual podcast, but the faces I was making as I was like, what? That's what it's about?
But it can be a visual podcast if you check us out on patreon.com/themixedreviews.
There you go.
If you want to see the faces we're making, it's there.
I'm going to zip zap zop right through these next couple things. She does she's a voice in Justin and the Knights of Velour. It's an animated nothing. I guess we should stop on Grand Budapest
Yeah.
Hotel.
But Justin Knights of Valor, like another girlfriend. Continue.
In 2014, she does Lost River, which we talked about. There is the Ryan Gosling directed film.
Hey,
And then
guess what she plays in Lost River? A girlfriend.
And then also the Grand Budapest Hotel, where she is also the
A girlfriend.
Yeah. As I was rewatching the Grand Budapest Hotel, I was like, you really have to have a level of like, how much can I stand Wes Anderson's bullshit? Like, and for some people they love it, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's bad, but like, you just have to have that kind of like bone of like, oh, this is smart and not insufferable. And like for different people, it's going to be different. I think it's fine. I don't have anything grand to say about it. It's just fine. I more appreciate his attention to detail. Like, he loves obviously making these movies, and that's very impressive. I do not know that like it's it's a little exhausting for me. But pop off to everyone who loves these films. I think that's totally fine and normal. That's fine. Owen?
Yeah, I mean, I love Grand Budapest Hotel. I was also just looking, it's the first film that she filmed without her parents on set. So I guess that's sort of like a big
Right.
step forward for her. And also the fact that she gets to have her natural accent
Yeah.
for the
Yes.
film is like worth noting, because like up until this point, she mainly played British people /
Americans.
yeah. So she's just a bunch of fun, and like a decade removed from it. I wish she would return to the world of Wes Anderson, because I feel like she has that untapped potential of like wackiness and kookiness that she displays like outside of the films that she mostly makes. So I definitely would welcome her back into Wes Anderson. And while she is playing the girlfriend, I think there's enough of her involved in the plot in Very Wild Antics that kind of make it less of a traditional, oh, she's just the girl
Yeah.
thing.
Whence came these two radiant celestial brothers united for an instant as they crossed the stratosphere of our starry window? One from the east and one from the west.
Very good.
Don't flirt with her.
She does come back to Wes Anderson because she does do the French
French
Dispatch. Yeah, for kind of a small role, but yeah. But great hair in that movie. So some of my favorite hair in that movie.
Mhm.
I think it's worth noting, like, in her personal life, and thanks for bringing up how she was, this is the first time she did a movie without her parents on set. Because I think up to this point, her mom was always there with her, kind of like helping, take care of her. Because she's a child. But she also, was talking about, I think just around this time, she moved to London for the first time. Like, she left Ireland and she thought she wanted to like go and live this life. And she's kind of going through some personal things, just of like, growing up, thinking she's going to like love London, is actually very homesick. This is jumping ahead a little bit, but she'll move to New York to be on Broadway. It seems like, these movies were like she's searching, wandering, but I think it's because like that's kind of what she was in this time period. She was searching, wandering. She was a young adult coming into her adulthood. I didn't watch this next movie, but if either of you did, Stockholm, Pennsylvania in 2015. Thoughts, feelings?
Watched it a very long time ago, because I think it didn't actually go to the cinema. It went to like I think Lifetime?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, did it go to cinemas over there, Owen? Because it did not here. It played a couple festivals and Lifetime bought it, and it aired on Lifetime here.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I think I saw it when it was on Lifetime, because I remember the title because it premiered at the same Sundance that I mean, I'm sure the next film that we will discuss also premiered at. So it was quite a busy Sundance for Saoirse Ronan.
Owen is alluding to what probably is like the next cornerstone of her career.
Yeah.
2015's Brooklyn. And that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, this movie is about a young woman who leaves Ireland to come to New York.
In that time, I moved to London. And I was homesick. I was really homesick, and I really missed being Irish in Ireland. And I think to go in, I don't know if you've ever had this before, but to go into a film where emotionally you're sort of in the same state as your character, it's terrifying because there's nowhere to hide.
Obviously, she's Irish. This movie's about a young Irish woman. She connected to it in a lot of ways to this young woman, Eilish. But also just like in the time when she was making it, she was like, this idea of where is home, who should I be with, it really resonated with her. This movie is gorgeous, beautiful, romantic, sad, all the things. I've seen it maybe 3 times now. It's every time that, who the fuck is that boy who plays her, Tony?
I was just gonna say Tony. That's it.
That is the star of Smash, Emery Cohen. Thank you very much.
Yes, it is. Oh my God, that is wild. Emery Cohen, who Short Kings,
Yeah,
come together.
handsome as all get out.
Handsome and a short king. I love Brooklyn. I love Saoirse in Brooklyn. I kind of think he like, is it wild for me to say that? I think like he is so charming. I'm just like distracted by him in this film because she's so kind of like tightly wound and pent up and like, like a distress ball.
Midway through the movie, Louis like, whoops, where's my pants?
Yeah, fully. He's like, are you serious?
My only, I really like Brooklyn, so it's not even a serious complaint. My only complaint is that like every time I watch it, I forget that it like so much of the first like 2/3 is front loaded with her in the titular Brooklyn, that I forget that when she goes back to Ireland, it's actually like such a small part, which means you're getting so little of adorable Domhnall Gleeson as well, who I also love.
Yeah, no,
but
very fair.
But once again, I really like Brooklyn a lot, so I don't think I'm taking too much away from it by chiding it just a little tiny bit.
Yeah, no, I love Brooklyn. It's such a picture perfect film for me, and I think like it's designed so exquisitely, and Saoirse is just like has come into her full power. Like she's a movie star in this film, and like she like how she plays the beginning where she's unsure, and then the scene where she gets the letters from her sisters and just like breaks like the tension that she had been feeling up until then, and then breaking just emotionally. It's just so it's such a universal story, and it makes sense why people connected to it so much. I myself have watched, I think I watch it yearly at this stage just to experience, like there's so much outside of Saoirse as well. Like the fact that this film has like 2 charismatic romantic possibilities for Saoirse Ronan to act opposite with, that you don't feel necessarily terrible either way she goes, even though obviously we support Tony. She is Eilish Figuerillo by name.
That scene is so iconic.
So
what did you think you were gonna do? I was like, get that bitch.
I had forgotten. You had forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I also love in this movie, people forget it's funny. Like
it's so funny.
Yeah.
When she's trying on like the bathing costume and she's like, I'll get you a razor, you need to shave down there. This black is too dark for your pale skin. Try the green. It's just funny. There's a lot of all the women sitting around the table.
You just splashed his whole family.
Yeah. The little the little brother who's like, we hate Irish people. It's so good. Yeah, we love Brooklyn, and I think it kind of is if she was wandering, she is found. Like it's she really it proved that she wasn't this like one trick pony. Like that there was more to her, and there will be more to her.
I want to ask you something, and you're gonna say, oh, it's too soon. I don't really know him well enough. We only been out a couple times. Oh, it's nothing so bad. It's something that most guys did.
Please just ask. You're beginning to terrify me.
Oh. Sure. Will you come for dinner and meet my family sometime?
That's it.
I'd love to.
You like Italian food?
Don't know. I've never eaten it.
It's the best food in the world.
Well, why would I not like it?
You're in a good mood, huh?
She gets nominated for another Academy Award, another Golden Globe, all the things. Like I mentioned, she moves to New York because she stars in The Crucible, or a production of The Crucible on Broadway. Next up, she did On Chesil Beach, which is perhaps the most British title I've ever heard of a movie. I was like, do I need to watch this? It sounds boring. And then I did, and I was like, oh, like this. The title of this movie does not prepare you for what this is.
No.
It's a movie about these two young married people, and they are having their little honeymoon, and they are sexually inexperienced and have a very bad first time having or trying to have sex, and blow up their marriage because of it. And there's a lot of flashbacks to, you know, kind of their circumstances.
Yeah, and why
And why sex is so hard. And but my God, what a devastating movie. Again,
I think you liked it a lot better than I was. I think it's such heavy subject matter that the movie doesn't do it justice.
The great scene where they're on the titular Chesil Beach and she's like, babe, like, it's over. Let's go back now. And he turns his back on her.
Yeah. Literally, like he's Lana Jarre and untucked.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to cry on camera.
I think that scene is pretty incredible. And also just like from a directing standpoint, like they walk.
It's a pretty film. I agree. Like
when they walk across the entire, like, I think he's standing there and she's going, and then the cameras is zooming out and showing. I was like, holy shit. Owen, how do you feel about On Chesil Beach?
I've only seen it the one time, and unfortunately my memory of it isn't that long lasting. My lasting memory of this film comes from another podcast. This had Oscar buzz in.
Exactly. They did a great episode about it.
Yeah, especially there's a sound clip from their podcast where they mix BB. Speaking of Drag Race, BB hits the Harbinaise rat ti ti ta ta. Yeah, on Chesil Beach.
I also didn't realize this is also based on a novel. Same guy who wrote Atonement, Ian McEwan. So
he's like, Atonement's great, but like if On Chesil Beach is more like a more like a better example of his style, I worry that he's like British Nicholas Sparks.
That's a gag. Okay, after On Chesil Beach, which kind of like our conversation here, mixed. Doesn't really, do much. But then she comes and does Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird.
A movie no one saw. Just a little film that nobody.
So unfortunate.
I rewatched this for I think the first time, and I was like, oh my God, it's just, again, we don't remember how funny Saoirse can be, and how funny these movies that are really devastating actually are. Lady Bird is just fucking bangs. It's about this young woman. She has named herself Lady Bird. She has a very tumultuous relationship with her mother, played by Laurie Metcalf. She wants to just leave Sacramento and go where real artists are, real writers are, somewhere in the Northeast.
The only exciting thing about 2002 is that it's a palindrome.
Okay, fine. Well, yours is the worst life of all, so you win.
Oh, so now you're mad?
No, it's
because
just you're
I
being
wanted
ridiculous
to
because you have a great life.
I'm sorry, I'm not perfect.
No one's asking you to be perfect. Just consider it would do.
I don't even want to go to school in this state anyway. I hate California. I want to go to the East Coast.
Your dad and I will barely be able to afford in-state tuition.
There are loans,
your brother,
scholarships.
your very smart brother, he can't even find a job.
He and Shelley work. They have
They
jobs.
bag at the grocery store. That is not a career, and they went to Berkeley.
But her family is pretty middle class. I would say lower middle class.
Yeah, lower middle class.
They, they shop at like vintage stores, and even that's being nice. I mean, it's literally fucking Goodwill type vibes. They, her father lost his job. They live with her brother and the brother's girlfriend, who, oh my God, that one scene she has where she's like, your mom's really fucking cool. She brought me in.
Yeah.
I was just like, there's just so much in this movie. Complicated, complex, and amazing.
This is also the first time I've seen it since it came out. And I think the thing that I ended up focusing on more this time, I really like it, so I'm not trying to bury the lead. But the thing was that it is such Lady Bird's point of view that actually a lot of the stuff with her mom, besides like them arguing and whatnot when they're together, like is sort of kept at the periphery. And I think that like made me really, when the movie came out, I was like, yeah, I understand why Laurie Metcalf is nominated, but like also like I was like, it wasn't, I like love Laurie Metcalf's performance now because it is everything that she must be doing when she's not on screen. If you think about that character, like it's so I mean, I grew up really lower middle class, and so like I know how it is, and like yeah, like I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now. Like her mother sacrifices a lot for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the scene where she's at the hospital and she's talking to?
Oh, to Stephen, to the priest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephen McKinley Henderson breaks my heart in
He's
this.
so good.
With like 2 scenes.
Yeah, I know. They didn't understand it. Oh my God.
Even like he's like, we're gonna play a game. Who can cry first?
first.
And then he just fucking bursts into tears. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting to like, and I challenge anybody in our audience, like next time you watch this movie, you know how good Saoirse is. She's amazing in this role. You know how good all the other kids are except for Timothée Chalamet, but whatever. And the pay attention to the adults. Like the adults are all going through it, but because it's like Lady Bird's perspective, it's all kept in the periphery. And I love it. It's such a smart, because when you're a teenager, you don't think about that shit. You don't think like, oh, these people, you're going through your own shit, you know?
Yeah. I think it's it speaks to Greta Gerwig's talent that like she could build an entire universe of like fully realized, fleshed out characters. Everyone is so like lived in. And I was just like, oh my God, every single human in this film,
yeah,
just obsessed with. So good.
Lois Smith is like the nun.
Yes.
It's what I love. I agree. I love Lady Bird so much in that like it is about Christine, but every single member of this ensemble, and yes, I include Timothée Chalamet, he is playing the part the way it's supposed to be.
It's his best role. It's the role that he plays perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Every cast member is just like doing such incredible work. Even like Greta Gerwig just knows character. Like she knows that just putting a camera on someone, you don't have to overly explain these people's lives. We just understand them fully, and it's just so incredible to experience. And Saoirse Ronan just is a gift of like everything in this. I mean, so many funny lines. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think of there is no role of the Tempest.
It's the titular role.
Shout out to Beanie, who is also very funny.
So fucking funny in this.
I skeeted this, but like I literally burst out laughing when she's like, I don't understand why I'm not good at math. My dad's so good at math. Yes. And then Beanie says, maybe it's your mom's fault.
Mom's fault.
I died.
Yeah.
So good.
I think the scene the scene I constantly think about from Lady Bird is the scene between Lady Bird and Danny after the whole revelation of his queerness. I don't think I've ever seen a scene dealing with youth and kind of like coming out as emotionally effective as that. The fact that even though what his actions hurt her, she realizes in that moment that she has to be a friend for this boy because he is literally breaking down, being like, how, like it really emphasized how difficult the act of coming out can be. And I don't think a film has ever so perfectly encapsulated that in a way that feels so realistic.
Right.
And on the acting side of that specific scene, she has to start out so like she literally says, "You're gay." and because she's so mad and so angry and has to swing it back around, which I think is a really difficult arc to play in one scene.
Right. I was going to say a lot of movies that I don't think give enough attention to like it is painful for young women to have to go through this. Where like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, but also in that moment where she like just hugs him, I'm like, what she's realizing is like now she's closer than ever with this guy who is confiding in her and like coming to her for comfort. It's a beautiful scene, beautiful movie. Would recommend over and over again. Again, one of her most indelible films. So yes, she wins the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Comedy Musical. Gets all the nominations. Amazing.
I know I went through a stage, well, we still do, but like when I was about 18, it was such a weird, it was like an in-between age. And I remember only being kind of handed scripts that either had the coming of age girl or the older sister or the girlfriend or something like that. And it really, when you find something great like those projects and like I did with Lady Bird, it's sort of, it's so precious to you, but it does seem like it's hard to come by.
She is in The Seagull in 2018. I didn't watch The Seagull. Another weird, interesting movie after The Seagull is Mary, Queen of Scots, which I think Margot Robbie is giving it her all. It's two movies like kind of mashed together and like, I don't know. It very much felt like it's giving Six vibes, you know what I mean? Like it's giving like, what if yes, Queen Slay, Mary, Queen of Scots?
That's my problem with it. Like I love the 70s Mary's Queen of Scots. I think that movie it's a little all over the place, but it's great. And this movie is very like a girl boss gatekeep gaslight version of like the Mary Queen of Scots story. It's like even when you get to the end, which spoiler alert for fucking history, when she gets her head cut off and there's like the monologue of her being like, my son, you'll be king, and you see him on the throne. And it's like, do we need, like, come on. What is happening? Beautiful gowns, though. I will say beautiful gowns. Oh, and how do you feel about Mary Queen of Scots?
I mean, just watch it for the campness of the completely fictitious scene of Queen Elizabeth and Mary Stuart meeting.
Everybody loves to do that. There's an opera about Mary Queen of Scots, Mary Stuart. Yeah. And they have that. That's like the big like Act 2 thing, and it's everybody just wants to create this fictional meeting between them. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah. You're inferior. Sorry, when Margot Robbie becomes Voldemort.
Don't make me say it to your back.
I love also like she has her like little gay boy slash maybe non-binary like girly pop who ends up fucking her husband, and she's like, get up, you caught into his trap like I did. Like I love that she's like, diva,
that's
he got us both, girl, and it's fine.
That's what I hate about the movie, is she's like #ally.
It's kind of funny in this year, the fact that she's playing both Nina in The Seagull and Mary Queen of Scots in Mary Queen of Scots is, again, related to Vanessa Redgrave from Atonement, who played both those parts decades before. Like, it's kind of funny.
So after these two little kooky, freaky little movies, she comes back home to Greta and makes Little Women. Women.
A role that she like had to campaign for, because Greta was not feeling it at first, but she's like, it was like one of her dream roles, and she to this day, says it's her favorite movie. It's her 5-star review of her own career.
Yeah, I mean the movies. At first, I was like a little bit put off just by like, I was like, Florence Pugh,
yeah,
you're too old for this, but everyone is committing to the bit so hard, and Florence is a very good actress.
Yeah.
Luscious, lovely.
Little Women is very much a nostalgic title that kind of has different generations who enjoy each one dependent on when it came out. And I think this 2019 version is that version for me, where I think the choice to kind of break up the narrative and do it in sort of a contrasting way. Always, again, I watch this every Christmas. This is like my Christmas movie. I watched it this last Christmas, and it's just like, I get upset when Beth doesn't die and then does, like, that sequence especially is incredible. Again, like Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig manages to gives so much attention to all of her characters. I think what I really enjoy about this Little Women is that while Joe is very prevalent, it is maybe the first version that I've seen that pays a lot of great attention to the rest of the sisters as much as it does Joe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the title Little Women that much more effective for me. But yeah, Saoirse's just so wonderful. I mean, the women, they have minds as well as just hearts. And I'm so
good.
sick saying this all the woman's fifth for.
It's so good. So good. Movie, tons of acclaim, tons of money. Her fourth Oscar nomination at 25 years old. So
God,
yeah,
what a crone.
I know. And then she retired. No. In 2020, she's in Ammonite with Kate Winslet, a lesbian drama, which I thought was boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say Frozen and Ammonite.
Yes. I don't know. Owen, do you have anything else to say about Ammonite? I think
it's such a disappointing film because I love the director's previous film, God's Own Country, from like 3 years before.
Yeah.
And this is just like, it's so cold, and it still surprises me that Saoirse Ronan at this stage in her career would want to take this part, especially because like all she does for like most of the film is not speak, is just wander around. Like, it's just so boring, and it kind of came at a point in film where there were so many of these period lesbian dramas.
Yeah.
And I mean, SNL made it's so funny that this is the film that inspired that SNL sketch to kind of make fun of the trope of lesbian period dramas, even though no one knows what this film is.
yeah, I wanted to like it more than I did.
I know there is a very specific member of our audience that really wants us to do a Kate Winslet episode, and we will get there. There will be a Kate Winslet episode. I can promise you this. And I am not saying, and I want to be clear, I'm not saying anything negative about Kate Winslet or Saoirse. I just don't think they have chemistry together. There's even an Actors on Actors you can watch on YouTube with them, and I don't think they had chemistry together in that, and they were being themselves. So like, I think that's also a huge flaw of it, that I think they were just both kind of miscast.
Well, I think also they're very different actresses. I think it just feels like their crafts do not work together.
100%.
And I love them both, but I don't think. Whereas I think Kate is like a more technician, and like Saoirse is more like intuitive, and it just kind of doesn't, like when they're having even the sex scenes, I was like, okay.
It's just such a dull film, and I think also the fact that when it came out, no one wanted to watch this film during the pandemic. Like, this is not a film that one would want to watch in the comfort of their own home.
Right, we could have saved this one. She does a quick little tip spot on the French Dispatch. She makes her West End debut as Lady Macbeth in The Tragedy of Macbeth. In 2022, she does See How They Run, which we talked a little bit about in our Sam Rockwell movie, I believe.
No, it hadn't been. I was gonna say it hadn't been made.
Oh,
it did Sam Rockwell. Yeah, in our Whodunit episode,
we talked a little bit about Foe, I believe, in the yearly wrap up of that year.
Yeah,
because I like this movie should have been especially my shit. It's kind of just boring, dull.
It's bad.
Sci-fi again. Like she loves going to this place of introspective, really deeply emotional. And this movie is trying to get there, but
I felt the script didn't serve the character. I didn't understand why anybody was acting the way they were, and I think that's a huge if I kind of felt like any time that anything got really heated, I was dropped in the middle without any context. And was like
something clones, replacements,
robot sort of. Yeah. Owen, how do you feel about Foe?
It's so disappointing because like it stars 3 of my favorite kind of like not up and coming, but like charismatic performers. I mean, Aaron Pierre,
yeah,
post Underground Railroad,
yeah,
and then
he's really good.
He's really good. The fact that this is, I mean, I'm assume the first of, I hope, many more films that Saoirse and Paul choose to do together, because I think like I mean, we are in a very like fruitful moment of like young up and coming Irish actors. So I'm hopeful that they do something together because
I hope the next thing that they're in together, they get to be Irish. That's the.
But yeah,
Imagine.
it's just such a like I avoided it for so long because like the reviews weren't great and I was just like, do I really want to experience this? And then when I did, I was like, maybe there's sometimes where I should just skip a film.
Yeah. If you're not being paid, you don't have to see everything. That's my opinion on that.
That brings us kind of to where we are now. Last year, she had 2 films out during award season. We talked a lot about Blitz in our New York Film Festival moment that me and Gavin had. I did not like Blitz.
Yeah.
I was it a little bit more than I did.
Yeah, I was less cool on it. I still didn't love it, I will say.
Yeah. And then also The Outrun, which Gavin mentioned way up top, a film that she helped produce and get made. Blitz she made with Steve McQueen, big kind of sweeping war drama. The Outrun, a really intimate woman dealing with alcoholism, chilling film. How did we feel about The Outrun?
In terms of me, I really liked it, except for I was more middle ground on it because I don't know if the non-linear narrative was necessary, and I worry that the non-linear narrative is there to disguise maybe some like lack of maybe the movie's not as entertaining if it's not non-linear, and that might to me like that's not a really reason to do that. And as an editor, I did feel like it was a little long, and I was like watching it and being certain scenes I was like, we could have trimmed this back a bit, like we didn't have to sit with this.
I think she's very good in it.
Yeah, she's great.
It's one of her, I would say, best performances. It doesn't feel like scenery chewy to me. And I think with a lot of alcoholism kind of addiction stories, it can kind of get into that like camp space. This feels very grounded to me. I think she's very good. I thought it was kind of like rock and roll. Like, again, like the music of this film is really interesting. But yes, I do want, like, this movie wants what Atonement has, like, with the nonlinear of it all. But I just don't think Nora Fingscheidt has the kind of mastery that Joe Wright has to make it work quite as well.
Yeah, I've watched this. This was my 3rd time watching The Outrun. I think I'm just so impressed by Saoirse's performance that I kind of am forgiveful of maybe the like filmness of it. I think I agree. I think the kind of unconventional storytelling of alcoholism is really great. I think having seen so many films that deal with alcohol, it's not like alcoholism, it's not so obvious. And I think that's what really kind of pulls me in. I think, yeah, she's just so incredible. And like the fact that while she has explosive moments, they're very far and few between. It feels it's very much a reflective film on kind of choices and not. I know people try to compare it to like something like a woman under the influence, just in how it deals with addiction. And while that is a far superior film, I think it kind of lives in that universe, and I think that's why I'm more attracted to it. And I think, separate from her producing it, it does feel very personal to her, and I sense that from her performance.
Yeah, I think the script is really good. I mean, that moment where she is like, "Your prayers didn't work, Mama. Your prayers didn't work."
Yeah. Oh my God.
All that praying didn't help, did it, Mum? It didn't help me. Didn't help me.
It was.
Why tear our hearts out now, Louis?
Yeah. I would recommend the movie, but it's devastating. Like it's devastating, but also, no spoilers. Like it's coming in and out of addiction and relapsing. I mean, it's a cycle. It's a cycle, and like the people you hurt, you hurt yourself. It's a rough watch.
I hope I did not sound too negative on it, because I do like it and would recommend it to other people. But there were just elements that, wishing for a movie that isn't made kind of doesn't do anything. But they're things I would change.
Really quickly, she has she started dating her Mary Queen of Scots co-star Jack Loudon.
Hashtag ally. Oh, sorry.
Hashtag ally. It's been reported they were married at a secret ceremony in Edinburgh. So
yeah, good for them.
Good for them.
That happened last year.
Yeah.
Only cool people get married in 2024. So I've heard.
Gavin. She's an ambassador for the Irish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. She's been associated with a lot of anti-homelessness campaigns.
And she, of course, she's a young person in this world, so she knows it's smart to vote for gay marriage and vote for abortion in Ireland, because she understands human rights.
Imagine. It's not that hard, divas. But yeah, that kind of wraps up our rewind of Miss Saoirse. Let's get into some picks. We're going to start off with our 1-star reviews. Owen, Diva Doll, as our guest, you get to go first. What is your 1-star review of Miss Saoirse Ronan?
My 1-star review is The Lovely Bones. Coming in hot. Well,
oh my God.
I don't know if this is a hot choice. It's not just that it's a depressing story. I think it's just such an ugly, like a repellent film. And like, while the work that I agree with, I can't remember which one of you said earlier, I don't think she's necessarily ever given a terrible performance. But when it but when it comes to like films from her filmography that I just do not, I mean, this is to preface to say The Host would probably be my 1-star review, but I will never watch that. So yeah, The Lovely Bones is just something that I'm just so repelled by. And so like visually, I think the overly CGI'd scenes are just like horrendous. I think Saoirse delivers well. I mean, she was a BAFTA nominee, for God's sake. Like,
yeah,
wild. But yeah, I just don't like this film, and I've now watched it 2 times, and I hope never to have to watch it again.
Hey, come back. Wait. Who are you? I'm Holly. Holly Golightly.
That doesn't sound like a real name.
It isn't. I borrowed it. You can do that up here.
Up here? You mean in heaven?
My Norwegian Bonkoiwa. You're funny.
What's funny about it?
This is in heaven. You're not there yet.
What is this place?
This place is not really one place, and also is not the other place.
It's bits of both.
Good pick. Gavin, we got.
So I was actually really hoping that you had seen The Host, because I really wanted this to be the very rare 3-person 1-star review. And I don't know what Louis' 1-star review is, but I can't imagine it's anything but The Host. The Host is a truly terrible film. It's so nothing. And I think that's maybe the worst bit about it. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes of just watching nothing happen. It was directed by Andrew Nicole, who also wrote the movie. Creator of Gattaca, a great movie. And I just don't know how this could possibly have happened this way. I don't think Saoirse's very good at it either. And like I said, I don't think she's had many opportunities for paycheck films. If I was to say that there was one amongst her career, this is it, because clearly they were banking on the Twilight of it all to be the thing that would draw people to the audience. But yeah, and I mean, half of the movie is voiceover, because she's playing both her inner voice and the alien possessed her. And she can do voiceover. We've heard her do it many times in many films. Sounds great in The Outrun. Sounds great in This Is How I Live Now. This movie, she sounds bored. Yeah. So bored. And how am I supposed to feel as the person watching it if the actors aren't even giving their all? I will give it one thing, which is that I think Diane Kruger, who I think she's an actress who does not get enough credit, because I think she's usually pretty amazing. Innocent, totally innocent. Showed up, did everything that she was asked to do, did it with aplomb, and was like, and I will take my paycheck now.
She's like the bad girl.
Yeah,
she's the
exactly.
villain.
Well, I love that she's the villain who's like, we don't want to do anything bad to these people. We just come here and we help improve their lives. And then it literally shows one of their grocery stores, and they've replaced everything with like the very potato chips. Like the bags just say potato chips. It's just like soda, water, and it's like, well, you did change things. Like, it's
I don't
so
think
stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, this is also my one-star review. Though
Excellent.
Violet and Daisy very close to.
I agree. But hitching up right behind, right on its coattails.
I think this wins the one-star review though, just because I do think Saoirse's bad in it. I think her accent work mostly is very good across her career.
Yes.
I don't think it's good here.
I don't think she cares. I think that's...
I like you, Wanda.
I like you too, Ian. You did not say that.
No. Not like that.
Get his hands off me. This can't work. What are you doing?
Let me guess. You have two minds about it. Is this about Jared?
Yes, it's about Jared.
Melanie's in love with him.
And you?
Tell him. Tell him.
This body loves him. Since it is now my body, so do I.
This little diva is supposed to, I guess, have a southern accent, and Saoirse kind of dips in and out of it. I think so. The whole vibe is I'm a southern gal and go to Fort Worth and it's
I wouldn't even
not
known.
right. Also, we haven't mentioned that the parasitic soul that takes over Saoirse, their name is Wanderer. And when they decide to give them a more human name, decides to call themselves Wanda.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so stupid.
It makes it even better because, and spoiler alert, but I don't care. They pass the parasitic thing onto a brain dead character later.
Yeah.
And so now you have to deal with a whole other actor who's wandering around being called Wanda.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre because the whole thing of this film is there are two souls now in this one body, and they each have a love interest. And so there's this fight over who gets to use this body to act on these romantic feelings. And then, but then, we found this brain dead. Is it Jamie?
It's Emily Browning playing her.
Oh,
and her,
okay.
and her character's name is Pet until she gets Wanda.
So the little alien goes in her, and the boy that was in love with Wanda now is now I can fuck my alien in this new body. It's
totally. And I understand the idea, it's beauty's only skin deep. It's not about that. But this is physically another person. This is a whole other body. Also, sidebar, not all Nepo babies are good. And I'm so sorry, Max Irons. You did not inherit daddy's talent. Gotta work at it.
Every little white boy in this film is just the most basic, boring, flavorless type of little actor boy. And unfortunately I do think this is one of the films where not even she is good in this. Okay, any other bad movies that we don't like? I mean, Violet and Daisy is just
that's it.
It's kind of I'm is it her fault? I think the screenplay is very bad.
I think the screenplay is very bad. I literally think I think it's impossible, and I'm sorry to everybody else that's in the movie that I really like. It's just sort of impossible to give a performance when there's nothing there. Who are these girls? What drives them other than that they want a pink dress? I don't
Yeah.
understand like James Gandolfini's motivation other than that he's a bad dad. Like there's nothing there. There's no meat on any of the bones in the script. And so I can't blame them.
Right. And this whole idea that like the plot twist is that Saoirse's character is shooting blanks
Yeah, that she can't bring
because
herself to kill people.
because
Right.
it's just, I don't know. But okay. Let's get out of here. Let's move into our 5-star reviews. Owen, what do you got?
Oh, this is such a difficult choice. I really hope.
If you don't tell us who the real father is, we're gonna cut the baby in half. That's what you. So you have to do it.
Oh, I really hope that this choice that I make makes us all choose a different one because I think there's so many good options. But I gotta go Lady Bird.
Wow.
Yes. I think I don't necessarily think I discussed why I love Saoirse Ronan so much in it when we were discussing it. I was mainly discussing like everybody else in it, but the fact that she manages to make this eccentric, ordinary girl into such an indelible film character is really impressive. Like she finds so many moments of like gifted comic work and then these like human moments where she's talking with her mom where she's like, maybe this is the best version of me. I think that I love her audition scene where she sings that Sondheim song. The ending of the film where she just like calls her mom back is just like so wonderful. And the fact that she could deliver this performance and also in this great film as well at such a young age is just like really impressive. And yeah, I've watched it so many times. I watch it again, another film of hers that I watch like basically I have to stop myself from watching it all the time because it is such a quick watch and such a comforting watch for me.
Yeah.
Can I say one of the other things that I really like about her in it, and this is also a compliment to the script too. There are, as an adult, I think, some choices that the character of Lady Bird makes that feel so nonsensical and so like aggravating in a way. Like I love the fact that you are allowed to be frustrated with Lady Bird in the movie, that it's not always, when she starts hanging out with a more popular girl and like leaves Beanie Feldstein behind, like you as an audience member are invited to be like, why the fuck is she doing this? And it's like, because she's a child. She's like figuring things out. And I love that the performance is so indelible and the script is so smart that you're allowed to like not let that color your entire picture of her, because she, unlike Violet and Daisy, feels like a 3-dimensional character. Like you understand where she's coming from. You get that she's like making mistakes, and that's fine. And I think Saoirse plays that incredibly well. And obviously, like, part of that is just her natural charm, but part of that is this character that she's really inhabiting and like really, I don't know. Yeah, she's really fantastic in Lady Bird. It's hard. And also, once again, accent work. Great. I think she's so good.
Why can't you say I look nice?
I thought you didn't even care what I think.
I still want you to think I look good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was telling you the truth. You want me to lie?
No, I mean, I wish that you liked me.
Of course I love you.
But do you like me?
I want you to be the very best version of yourself that you can be.
What if this is the best version?
Great pick, Ellen. All right, Gavin, what do you got?
The nice thing about having a guest is I don't feel like I'm constrained to pick the normal things. And so I'm glad you picked Lady Bird. I'm hoping that maybe something else that everybody else loves comes up in Louis. But I have to go with my heart, which is my favorite out of her entire canon is 2011's Hannah. I really love Hannah. I think she is so good. I mean, from her first scene where she's like out hunting and she's doing this little German accent throughout the entire movie, and she's so steely-eyed. As we mentioned before, Hannah is the story of a young girl who was this government CIA program that was basically like kidnapping women, genetically engineering their child to be the perfect assassin. And then this entire program got shut down and they were supposed to be executed. And Kate Blanchett was put in charge of it, and she failed to kill the last person of this program because Eric Bana, who was a CIA agent as well, took Hannah and moved her to the forest where she is trained, and basically is like, one day you're going to have to confront this, and I'm leaving it up to you. And the movie starts when she triggers the alarm to let the CIA know where she is, because she's going to end this endless pursuit of her. She doesn't want to live in hiding anymore. And what follows is this amazing action movie, but also this fairy tale storytelling. There's all this fairy tale imagery throughout. You have Kate Blanchett as the evil queen. You have Saoirse as the beautiful young naive princess. You have the kindly people that pick her up and help her. You have the huntsman who's coming after her, who's played by like queer coded just evil, vile, I can't think of the actor's name, but he's so
Tom Hollander.
Yeah, Tom Hollander. So good. Once again, I love the interview with Tom Hollander where he's like, I hate the fact that there's a young actor named Tom Holland now. but Tom Hollander is so good in it. And it's this very heightened type of storytelling, but it's also very realistic and very gritty at points, and she has to do a lot of very physical things. And the movie also has a lot of heart. The scene where she confronts Eric Bana about her actual origins, and he's kind of like, I just wanted to protect you, is heartbreaking, but they both play it so well.
Are you my father?
Sit down, Hannah.
Are you my father?
Please, sit.
Are you?
Hannah, of course I'm your father. I raised you.
But Marissa said,
Hannah!
Don't lie to me.
I'm your father. I've been with you your whole life. Treated you like you're my own flesh and blood.
But I'm not your flesh and blood. I'm abnormal.
No!
Where was I born? Tell me the truth.
Beautiful movie. I love it. Once again, Joe Wright is really a master of what he does, and
Joe Wright, you've done it again.
Joe Wright, you've done it again. I guess the other amazing thing, real quick, this movie ends, and I love where this movie ends, and I don't need to see any more of this particular movie. I would love for her to do another thing with Joe Wright, but like, there was a TV show created off of this afterwards that ran for like 3 years on Amazon. Who needs that? No one needs that. I don't need more story. It's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it like kind of like after that, or?
I think it was a remake / more. So it like has a little bit of the movie in it, and then also, but yeah, I truly think she's really fierce in it. She really is.
Amazing. It's amazing. I love that she's able to like be the little girly with like the most annoying little girl ever.
Yes.
And like just being like, and then going from that to like,
I found her. She's Sri Lankan and she doesn't speak English.
Yeah. It's incredible. When she punches like the cute boy, just wants to kiss her.
Yeah.
It's like,
but
honey,
that's all part of the like fairy tale subversion, because how often is it that like a boy comes along and he kisses the girl and everything is safe and beautiful, and she's like, fuck no. Bah, bah, bah.
Yeah. So good. Okay. Well, I guess it's up to me then, to talk about, yes, Brooklyn is my 5-star.
You've played into my hands beautifully, both of you.
Same.
Yeah, it's directed by John Crowley, based on novel from 2009. It's just like you both were saying, it's such a universal story. This idea of like finding home, and what does that even mean? I think Saoirse has talked about, like, I don't even know, like in her personal life, like what is home? Like where do I fit in? It's just like all the stars align for this movie to come together and make total sense. I think my favorite thing about this film is like the beginning of her when she's on the boat and has this moment with these other women who are kind of like telling her what it's going to be like and, you know, how to take care of herself. And then cut to her later when she's taking that return trip and is talking to these younger women about like, you know, keep your chin up. And yes, Brooklyn is a lot like home. It's going to remind you so much of it's.
And don't eat on the first night of
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. It's just the most romantic and luscious and just sweeping. How heartbreaking when her sister dies. And, you know, and it's this life will pull you in a lot of different directions, and to have the courage and to not settle and to go after what you want and follow your heart. It's just, she has to make these tough decisions. And she's the scene with her fucking mom when she's like, I'm sorry, mommy, I'm married. And, you know, and the mom was like, I'm going to bed. I'm only saying goodbye this once.
Yeah.
And it, you know, a lot, you either stay home with your parents or you don't, right? Like
Right.
all of us. And obviously these circumstances are a lot bigger. She's going literally across the fucking globe, and, you know, married in secret. There's also, I mean, it's like you were saying earlier, Owen, that scene where she's kind of confronted by her old boss, who is such a fucking bitch and who's going to try and manipulate her and try and, I don't know, put her in her place. She's like, yeah, I am fucking married and it's great. And I love him. And, you know, you see her come into herself in this new place. There's that great scene where one of her coworkers is like trying to have a conversation with her, but Eilish just won't respond to her.
Yes.
She's like, oh, what'd you see at the cinema? Well, I saw
The Quiet Man. John Wayne plays an Irishman. Oh, I thought you might like that because you're Irish yourself.
Right. It's to be able to get over, you know, homesickness and heartache. It's just, there's so much of this film. It's beautiful. I think a lot of her movies have a lot to do with this, like, looking. She's always like has like these great glances. There's always like these moments where she's just kind of keeping her eyes either on like a boy or like, you know, this great expanse. Brooklyn fucking has it all. And just like, it's a cozy, the final shot, the final scene where like it doesn't do too much. She's just standing there and Tony gives his little fucking tools to his brother and they just hug and he's shorter than her and that's just it. And it's just like, I'd forgotten that like she was putting his letters away and not reading them. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But then
and that scene at New Year's Eve in the hall with all the men who like just her hearing them singing those Irish songs. It's just like, oh, there's some, and then there's the whole Julie Walters woman owning the boarding house of it all, and then her flatmates there, and there's that scene at the dance when she meets Tony when she goes with that annoying new girl. Like I love that we get to see Eilish not just be this like hopelessly homesick girl, because like once she gets those letters from her sister, she kind of comes into her slight bit of her own where she's like, yes, I'm working, I'm doing this thing. She's again like almost like a ladybird where like it's such a complex person, not initially, but when you get to kind of experience her more human moments, she's just such an interesting person. It's just such a wonderful film. So thank you for choosing it.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is kind of a quintessential like immigrant story, you know. It's fucking hard to immigrate, like not even just like the physicalness of like, you know, moving somewhere, but like to be away from home, be away from your friends and family and culture, and like, you know, it's just a great American tale of chasing dreams, etc., etc. Yeah, love Brooklyn.
You remember that after I had dinner at your house, you told me you loved me. Well, I didn't really know what to say. But I know what to say now. I have thought about you. And I like you. And I like being with you. And maybe I feel the same way. So the next time you tell me you love me, if there is a next time, I'll say I love you too.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Holy shit. Excuse my language, but I thought we were having a different kind of talk.
Can I go home now?
You love me?
Yes. But don't ask me anything else, and don't talk about our kids being Dodgers fans.
Oh, what, you want kids who like the Yankees?
Tony, please, don't push me.
All right, I'm sorry.
The fun thing about Saoirse is that she has so many fucking
Yeah.
nominees for a 5-star film, or at least 5-star performance. I mean, Atonement certainly has to be up there. I also was like flirting with Hannah for sure.
Nice.
Little Women,
Oh, wow.
Little Women,
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, we we are blessed with a lot of good Saoirse performances.
Before we get into our mixed reviews review, can I also just put in, like, seriously, check out Byzantium if you haven't. Sort of flew under the radar. I liked it so much better this time than I gave it credit for the first time. So,
I also liked On Chesil Beach.
well, you can sit there alone.
And I love the outrun. Like,
Yes, in the outrun. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very good. She's very good. Okay, let's do our mixed reviews review.
My 1-star review was 2013's The Host.
That was also my 1-star review.
my 1-star review is 2009's The Lovely Bones.
And my 5-star review was 2011's Hannah.
My 5-star review is 2015's Brooklyn.
And my 5-star review was 2017's Ladybird.
Well, all good choices all around. All right, let's get into that fast forward. It's sort of as we set up top, like she's not slowing down. Once again, I think she is at this inflection point. She says she wants to direct. I think more power to her. She's got 2 upcoming films, one that's currently in pre-production called Deep Cuts, and one that's in post-production called Bad Apples, which I don't know if that's coming out this year, but I have a feeling it probably will. And yeah, and the future is bright in front of her. I mean, she's a newlywed. She just, I don't think she's slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think it's great that she's kind of like talked about how she wants to play like a Bond villain. And
Yes. Yeah. She keeps bringing up. I worry about that. And you should check out the Q Division, also on Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective, which this show is a proud member of. I don't know if she wants to be a Bond villain with this, what's happening now, but we'll talk about that on that.
The Amazonification.
Yes.
But I think it's like once I saw Hannah, I was like, oh, this little diva needs to be like in more action stuff. She's so good, and I would love to see her as a villain. She also talks about a lot about how she desperately wants to be in a comedy. I think that's probably why she did See How They Run. She talks a lot about how she's obsessed with Kristen Wiig.
She loves Kristen Wiig, and they actually also did an Actors on Actors together, and you can tell the whole time, like in a really positive way, that she's just like, she's so chuffed to be there. She's just really happy about it. She was supposed to be, speaking of, by the way, she was supposed to be in Barbie, and both her and Timothée Chalamet had to pass, but they were both like other weird Barbies supposedly, because people keep asking her, they're like, oh, who would you have been? And she's like, weird Barbie. And they're like, oh, in place of Kate McKinnon. And she's like, no, Kate was there. It was just like extra scenes.
Yeah, other weird Barbie. Yeah, I just think like she clearly has her bag of like emotional, dramas, but I like Owen, like you were saying earlier, I guess Wes Anderson is the place where he's given her the most kind of runway to be a little more comedic, and I wonder what else could she be doing,
Yeah, and I think now that she's like entered her 30s, I feel like the next decade is going to be such an exciting time because like the majority of the roles that she has played have dealt with sort of like coming of age and growing up, many of her best parts. Whereas now she, I guess, has entered a period where she doesn't just have to play those roles. Like she can now play like more grown-up people, and that's a very exciting prospect. I mean, the fact that it's always so funny that she's still so young, yet she has just done so much, and we've so much more to look forward to her. Like she's one of the rare. I loved how you kind of discussed earlier mentioning Jodie Foster, because I think Saoirse is very reminiscent, where a child star nominated for an Oscar who then later on makes good of that initial promise, which is very rare in kind of Oscars in film history. So I could see Saoirse Ronan going into directing. I think she is currently writing a script for a short film, I believe. But yeah, it's just there's so many exciting things, and I agree with what you said earlier, Gavin. I think we're kind of at a pinnacle of where she's going to go next. So there's I anticipate everything. I anticipate this new Sean Durkin film because he's such a exciting actress director. So I hope I would imagine that would be great. The fact that again it's music related, which is an underrated thing that she's sort of done in some, like with Blitz and with that one scene in Lady Bird. So I look forward to her doing stuff like that. But yeah,
Did you guys like hear where the interview where she's talking about like they're like, did you audition for Marvel? And she's like, she's like,
she's like, it's not for me. She's like, what would I do? I'm not interested in that. I was like, good for her for being, but once again, she's just, I worry there could be the dark Saoirse that like comes along and takes one of these paycheck gigs that she clearly doesn't need, but like, but it is nice to get paid,
I feel like I read years ago that she had auditioned for that. Speaking of Thou Should Not Be Named series, the Fantastic Beasts series. I also, for some reason, read somewhere
was it their young Dumbledore?
I also read somewhere that she auditioned for Scarlet Witch. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, interesting.
And
once again, like if she did a Marvel thing, she would be great doing it. And I think when Elizabeth Olsen plays Scarlet Witch, she's not phoning it in. So like, I don't want to, but like, I like that she's like, I don't have to do that. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, every time she's tried to make a blockbuster type movie like The Host, it's kind of fallen flat on its face. Meanwhile, Lady Bird made a ton of fucking money, ton of fucking, like, it's, so yes, it feels like she has this very specific lane that she's in, but my God, imagine her in like something like a Bridesmaids or like something like a Melissa McCarthy vehicle. Like I can just imagine it really banging. Cause I don't know. She has like that really, obviously she's beautiful, has a really severe face. But she's also kind of like a little freak and a little weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, and I would just love to see more of that.
It's funny in that Actors on Actors, and I'm not going to put in a sound clip because it is mostly Kristen Wiig talking about this specifically, but she was talking about how like when they wrote Bridesmaids, it's because women in comedies just the comedies aren't written for women, and that's why Kristen Wiig was also like, I love the scenes between you and Beanie in Lady Bird because they're funny, but also they're real. Like they feel like real women just yucking it up with each other. It doesn't, and so like, yeah, I think it would have to be like, I think, once again, I don't think she's bad in See How They Run, but I agree. I think she did it because she would love to do a comedy, but it's clear that it's just not being written for women.
Yeah.
Cast her in Palm Royale.
Yeah.
Kristen.
I'm a little shocked she hasn't tried to pull that card yet. Because she would. If Kristen Wiig was like, come be in season 2 of Palm Royale, Saoirse would drop whatever she was doing and do it.
She hasn't done any TV, right?
No, I don't believe so. No. Outside of the stuff she did at the very beginning.
She hosted SNL one time.
Yes. And did she like get in trouble because she did some sort of like stereotypical Irish sketch and people in Ireland were mad at her for that? But
sure, people are forgiving. I mean,
I was going to say, I'm sure they got over it.
We all remember Anya Taylor-Joy's Irish sketch.
Well, with that, I think that wraps up Saoirse Ronan. What a fun, like, whole month of watching for her. I cannot wait to, I mean, it again, 4 or 5 of these movies are like indelible classics that will go on forever. And I'm sure she has a lot more coming our way. So thank you for bringing her to us, Owen.
Yes, Owen, please remind the audience where they can find you online and what else you're up to.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. And this was so fun just talking about everything Saoirse Ronan. Like again with such a limited amount of films, just based on like previously discussing, we managed to discuss for so long. Yeah, you can find me on. I still exist on Twitter.
Get off it, man.
and Blue Sky and Instagram, just I guess my name, where I'm constantly either guessing on other people's podcasts. Shout out to previous guest Chels for allowing me to join her on a weekly basis to discuss all things Drag Race, reality television, and we rewatch this, I think is the name of the podcast. And then yeah, I'm just at the moment rewatching as we record the films of Meryl Streep for the month of March going into April, where I will be discussing films of a Audrey Hepburn, just like for my own kind of rewatching all these great films sort of things. But yeah, that's where I guess you can find me. And then also on Letterboxd, where I just log all of these great films that I see, and then some truly terrible ones as well.
You know who has a great episode about Audrey Hepburn? The Mixed Reviews.
Again, shout out to Chels.
Shout out to Chels. She is the angel that bonds us all together. Well, thank you so much, seriously, for joining us. I'm glad you pitched us on this. It has been such a delight to revisit some of these. I mean, revisit all of these films that I had, and then see the ones that I hadn't seen before. So,
thank you for bringing Hannah into my life. I am changed.
But if you want to contact us at The Mixed Reviews, you can always find us online on Blue Sky at The Mixed Reviews.
Or on Facebook, just type in The Mixed Reviews.
If you want to email us, you can always write us little love notes at reviewsmixed@gmail.com.
Or on Instagram at _mix_reviews.
And if you want to listen to our past episodes, just as you've listened to this one here, you can find our back catalog on any major podcast app. We're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, all those good places. Feel free to drop by, leave us a 5-star rating, write us a little review. We'll read it on the show.
Yeah, we're on Patreon also, $5 hairs for extra bonus content.
Across the board. And Louie and I will get back on doing Gavin and Louie Go to the Movies. Last episode, you heard about our little hitch, but we're talking about it. We're figuring it out. We're getting it together.
We're pro-union here, okay?
Absolutely. And as previously mentioned, The Mixed Reviews is a proud part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. If you want to find all of the rest of their shows that run the gamut of queer media, you can find that at glitterjaw.com.